Hello everyone, welcome to Zaref Game Dev. In this video, we are going to create the TrickyTurns game in Unity. So it's another one simple hyper casual game, as we already done before. The project for the files are already included in the GitHub repo, which link is given in the description below. And if you want to follow along, uh, the starting files we have imported from different projects, so all of them are in the link given below. And starting, let's see what should we do. So we have empty Unity project opened up, and we'll set up a couple of things. The first thing we'll do is delete the scenes folder. We don't need it now. And let's change our build platform to Android. So all of the settings are perfectly aligned. The packages and the player settings. So hmm, uh, till the settings are done, let's talk about my game. So I uploaded the game for the Play Store. It's a simple puzzle game, which link is going to be in the description below. And if you want to see how that game is, it has minimal setup, just a login and one in-app purchase. And if you want to create your own game, you can also do following along my tutorials. So the build setting is changed, and now what we need to do is change the player setting. We'll need to import the TM Pro, and afterwards we'll need to disable the warnings, so some of the warnings won't be shown. And let's go inside settings and disable the warnings, and let's now go inside the package manager. So till we remove all the packages, let's talk about my game. So I got the idea from one of the mini games, so it doesn't need to be a full game. You can like have some even if you can like modify Sudoku or any other games, create a puzzle game and use just simple blocks or some sprites and all, and code it up, and it won't be like big enough. Max to max, it should be around 1000 to 1500 lines, and do use at least good assets. Don't mm, in our this all the projects they are already like circles and uh, squares, so it would be better if you use like just create your own sprites, and if it's a simple block game, to see how the design looks. And it's not necessary to be like super duper cool, but just follow the basic guidelines so it doesn't look worse. And finally, what we need to remove is version control, and I think that should be it. And that's the game. So I was just talking it about till we remove all of the packages, and do download the game, as it's my first game and that's the only source of advertisement. And we have removed all of the packages, and let's bring in our project files and see if there are any conflicts. So first we'll bring in our colors. So the colors we are going to use from our latest project. So let's bring in the editor, and we are going to bring uh, all the things we have created from the last project, which is the rescue walls. And this game is similar, so we are not going to create everything again from scratch. We'll use all assets, and that's how you should have a working game right now. And we'll be modifying on top of this game, and all of the code for this game, as we have done tens of times before, and we'll also do it tens of times again. And if it follows a similar architecture, we'll do it similarly, or else if it is something different, we may like use different settings. So we need to add our scenes, and let's also add the gameplay scene, and now there should not be any errors. And if you followed along till now, you should have a working game opened up 18 is to 9, and let's hit play. So if any of the tags are missing, okay, so it is not missing, it recreated our tags. So there are a couple of settings as we are directly bringing in the folders, not the packages, so dependencies won't be included. It will only check what changes are there, and our project is not large enough. So the only different thing that should be in some cases, it's the layer orders. So the layers are stored in the project settings somewhere in the tag manager, and also the tags. So the tags will be there, but as it is not in our settings, we'll need to add it like this one is so let's see, this will be not available, but it will refer to the tag 0, tag 1, and tag 2. As they are not defined, it will show some undefined error or somewhat. But if you add the tags again in the correct order, it will reorder it. But do rename it again, as we don't have much files, just two prefabs and our player, if there's a player, or some obstacles 4 to 5, so we can just directly reuse it. Or if the file is a little bit bigger, somewhat around 50 to 100 files, and you have multiple assets that you may not want to like retag it again, export it as a package which is inside the assets folder, and export package, and you should be able to export all of the packages, and it will automatically include dependencies. So if you want like all the prefabs without the resources, so resources are just sprites, so include dependencies, it will automatically include what we need. We don't need the scene, and we don't need the scripts. So if we just directly use, I don't know how it works, but you can get it like if we have created all the prefabs here, and if it includes the dependencies there, there should be some. But as we are currently creating this simple game, there are not many errors, and we'll clear the console and let's hit play again, and we should have a starting game running up. So this was our previous game, Risky Walls. This one is the Tricky Turns, and as our game is 99% similar, we are going to reuse the code as the sound is too high. Uh, I'll turn down the sound. So this is the previous game we have created, and the volume was a little bit higher. So let's turn it down to 0.5. And let's start creating our own game. I mean, it's already a new game, so we'll create on top of it. So we are not going to change anything for the UI. You can add whatever text you like, or a background image, or some different buttons, sound, squid, like, rate, or any of the buttons you want to add, you can add. But here we have a simple background, and just a couple of buttons. And sound, we have created an audio manager. I think we did it in the first video of this series, so we are not going to do it again. It's just a simple sound manager script, and all the sounds are like similar. So one shot, so that's just one audio source component. Every sound is going to be played on top of it. Now let's start changing our color. So background is going to be green. The name is going to be Tricky Turns. I'm not good with naming, so that's why we use online references. So this is going to be changed, as we have already done this before. Mm, Mostly it is like reskinning, but as the game logic is already new, what we are doing is reusing previous code. So I mean, I we have already done it before, so why do we need to like create all the scripts and everything again and waste 30 minutes of your time, and the video will be long. So this is our starting screen, and let's go inside the gameplay. Similarly, our camera background is going to be this color, center is going to be our dark color, and similarly our player, it's not going to have a sprite renderer or a box collider 2D component, but we are going to have some components which I will see. And let's change the UI. So similarly, let's make it green, and our end score is going to be our dark green color. So all are similar blacks having darker tint of gray, but as you know, I'm not good with UI and stuff. We'll just do basic coding. And that's how our end screen is going to look. Nothing is going to change in the end screen, and there are not much different elements. So let's see what changes we are going to have a player. So let's create a empty, and we'll call it circle under slash 1. And where should we start our changes first? Our prefabs explosion is going to be our white explosion. No changes there. Main menu, done. 1170 by canvas. Okay, we are going to match the width. Game manager. Inside our game manager, we are going to have some spawn positions and spawn time. And let's see our player. So it is going to be positioned at 000. Sprite is going to be our circle. Actually, two circles. And ordering layer, it is going to be on, and let's go inside our scene first. So currently this is our player and this is our circle. Here we'll attach a sprite renderer. And the sprite we are going to use is simple circle sprite. Let's make it sliced, and it is going to be radius of 0.96, so its width and height is going to be 1.92, and its position x is going to be at 4.8 in the y direction. Similarly, we'll duplicate our circle, and this one will rename it to circle 2. And if you want to have like automatically circle 1 to circle 2, let's just do it. It should be inside our project settings editor, and renaming just looks good. And let's set it to negative 4.8. So these are both our players, and our center is going to be a little bit increased size, which is going to be 16, and that should be it for our player. But our player needs to going to have a circle collider 2D position. It is going to be at 4.8 and 0 of size 0.96. So currently our circles are present there. They need to be present in the x-axis. So that was just for reference purpose. It doesn't go outside the screen. And what we'll do is we'll copy our component and we'll paste our component as new. So we have two colliders, and this collider is going to be at negative 4.8, and these are our two colliders. Our rigid body needs to move down, move down, move down, and move down, and so we attach the collider, then we attach the rigid body. So that's how the order is, and that's going to be our center, and this is our game manager. So this is our player. There's going to be some logic on the player for its movement, which is just going to be a simple rotation. And let's start editing our score and our obstacles. So First thing we can change is inside our obstacle we don't need the score, and we also don't need the block. Let's use the default bar. Let's reset this, and our obstacle is going to be a dark greenish color, and let's resize them. So it is going to be 1.92 by 1.92, and similarly this size is going to be 1.92 by 1.92, and similarly it should be for our right. Maybe we'll copy all three of our components and paste it on our core, but no, we'll just do it again. So this is our bar 1.92 by 1.92. Similarly, it is going to be our 1.92 by 1.92. So this is our score, and that was our obstacle. And our obstacles script, it is just a movement script for our obstacle types. So we'll add that script here, and we'll add a space component as new. We will need the sprite renderer, collider, and code transform. I think only 4 of them are going to be needed, so we are going to discard it later. So let's see what we currently have. The game looks good. The look is better. We have our explosion, obstacle, and the score. And let's go inside the scripting part and let's see what scripts we need to change. So let's go inside Visual Studio. I'll need to reload my Visual Studio. And what changes did we do? We just add 2 circles to the player with colliders, change the obstacle and the score. I mean, everything's almost ready. Yeah. So the spawning logic is going to change, and let's see what does not need to change. Audio manager never changed. Gameplay never changed. Game manager. So our game start and end are going to be similar. UI is going to be same. Mono behavior methods, no changes here. It just include all the UI variables and stuff. What needs to be changed is our obstacle spawning. So uh, I've used all the what do you call it as regions, so we don't mess up most of our code. Main menu manager done. Then obstacle needs to be changed. Player needs to be changed. So let's close all the scripts which we are not going to need. So the first thing we are going to change is our obstacle. Mm, why obstacle? Because game manager is alphabetically the first thing that we need to change, and there is not much changes here. So what we need to have is obstacle prefab, and then we are also going to spawn a score prefab. So these are the 2 game objects that we are going to spawn, and instead of positions, we are going to have spawn positions, and they are obstacle spawn positions, but score will also spawn there. And after we have obstacle spawn time, we have the time interval, and instead of is stop, let's rename it to is score, and it is going to be equal to 0 to 3. We don't need more. 0, 1 and 2. Our score needs to have more, and afterwards we are going to call the spawn prefab, and if is our score, then we are going to use our score prefab, else we are going to use our obstacle prefab. And after that, our spawn pose, it is going to be equal to our obstacle spawn pose, and here random dot range, but random doesn't work, so we'll need to use unity engine dot random dot range. I mean, it works, but our random dot range is actually included the unity engine, and there's some random function there, so we'll need to specify that it's unity's random function. And what we are going to do is 0 to obstacle spawn post dot count, and it will get us a random top bottom position. So this is our spawn position. We are going to instantiate our spawn prefab at our spawn pose, and at quaternion dot identity will set is score to unity engine 3, and spawn pose. So is score spawn prefab, and our spawn pose will copy it and we'll paste it here, and we'll change the declaration. So it reassigns the all three of them, and that should be it for the spawning logic. What we are just doing is selecting one of the random positions from one of the random prefabs and spawning them at the location. Nothing much different. So that how the spawn logic is going to be. Now inside our obstacle everything is similar, but the only thing that's going to change is when our game ends, or if we collide, so we don't need the current size and all this stuff, and also not this stuff too. So this is just going to move our player, and let's create a destroy time. So when our destroy function is called, it is going to scale down to 0, and it will disable our game object, and by disable I mean it will disable our collider, so it doesn't detect any of the scores. And when the coroutine ends, our game is going to be finished. So when is this going to happen? On enable and on disable. And what is going to happen is on game ended. So when the game ends, or the game ends for this uh, obstacle, it is also attached to score. So when the game ends for the score, means when it is going to be destroyed, first thing we are going to do is we are going to disable its collider. And after disable its collider, we are going to call the coroutine to rescale to 0. So you can directly use like dot tween or anything else, but we are just going to use a normal coroutine. And to use enumerators, we'll need to using system.collections, and it should give us our enumerator, and we'll call it rescale. And how rescale is going to work is, let's first get our start scale, which is going to be transform.scale, and our end scale, which is going to be 0. And we'll also need a scale offset, and it is going to be end scale minus start scale. And after that, we are going to have float time elapsed, and it's going to be 0. Float speed is equals to 1 over destroy time, and finally update time is equals to new wait for fixed update. And how our coroutine is going to work is, while our time elapsed is less than 1f, we are going to increase our time elapsed by speed multiplied by fixed delta time, and our transform dot local scale, it is going to be equal to start scale plus offset, and our offset, we are going to multiply our offset by time elapsed. So time elapsed going to scale from 0 to 1, and if it turns to 1, then it will change to our end scale. And finally, we are going to yield return wait for update time, which is our wait for fixed update. And when this ends, we are going to destroy our game object, and this public on game ended, or you can call it as on object destroy or any other method. And this is also going to be called when our game ended event is invoked. So when our game ends, we are going to rescale everything and it will destroy. So it does not stick to the screen, and that's how we are going to use our events. So our event should be inside our mono behavior. No, it's not inside the mono behavior. Game start and end. Yeah. So here are the public unity action: game started and game ended. We just used the default unity action, as there is no any assignments, or you can use a default action and create a event out of that action. But unity action is like simple. You just need to like subscribe to it, no static or no initialization, it will automatically do the trick. So that was our game ended event. Now let's go and see our player. So our player, instead of our current move position, we are going to have our current rotate angle, and instead of move speed, we are going to have rotate speed. And there's not going to be any start and the end position, everything else is going to be similar. And let's remove everything that's not necessary. Rotate speed is going to be 1 over move time. Current rotate angle, we are always going to start from 0. And positive, that means it's going to rotate inside the negative, I mean, anti-clockwise direction. Everything else is same, but our current rotate angle plus is equals to rotate speed multiplied by time dot fixed delta time. But instead of transform dot rotation, we are going to have quaternion dot Euler, and Euler we are just going to use 0 0 and our current rotate angle. And if our current rotate angle is less than 0f, then we'll set our current rotate angle to 60f. So I mean, it doesn't matter, but it would be good to check, and if there are any errors. So if you want to calculate what the angle is, or check in the inspector, So this is going to set up our rotate angles, and when we collide with a score, we don't need to destroy it. What we are going to do is we are going to call get component obstacle. Actually, it's the obstacle is the name of the script, and we are going to call the on-game ended script. And whenever we collide with an obstacle, it's going to similar. It will call our game ended script, but yeah, explosion prefab transform dot get child 0 dot position, and similarly we are going to like spawn it at both of our circles, which we can directly get it as get child 0 and get child 1, and we are not going to overcomplicate it. So this will spawn our explosion at both of our circles, and it will like do everything else we want it to be. Generic, maybe we'll need it, maybe we won't. And I think that were the changes. Now let's see what changes did we do. So inside a game manager, we changed the obstacle spawning script. Instead of obstacle, we are randomly spawning one of the two selected obstacles at one of the random selected obstacle spawn pose. Everything else is same, resetting the our prefab and the position. And after that, inside our obstacle, we rescaled. I mean, instead of directly destroying, it will play a little animation. So when our game ended event is called, it's going to play this animation and then destroy the game object, which is called when we collide with it for the score. And when the game ends, so when it collides with the obstacle, all the obstacles are going to rescale. So we don't need to do that. And inside our player, instead of changing our current move position, we are changing our current rotate angle, which is going to be rotate by our rotate speed. And yeah, it is fine. It is going to set the rotation to quaternion.Euler of 0 over rotate angle. And if it is out of bounds, that directly set it to 360F and 0F. And if it is greater than 360F, then we'll set to 0. So it is already bounded from 0 to 360. Collision was similar. Now let's go inside Unity and let's see what errors are we going to face. Uh, let's first add our game objects. So we have our obstacle, we'll need the score. Let's create our first, which is going to be at 16 or 15. So it is going to be at 1500. Next one is going to be at 1540, and the final one's going to be at 15-40. Now our player move time similar, no changes here. Score, speed, destroy time. We'll need to set up the destroy time. So it's going to destroy in 0.32 or maybe even less, but let's set up as 0.32. And let's play our scene so we can see what errors are we going to face. Let's hit play. It is rotating, but it is not. So the game should have ended, but we didn't set our colliders to be trigger. So that was the first issue. Let's hit play. Actually, it is rotating, but you can't see it. Our spawning logic is correct, but we are not able to spawn different obstacles. So what is the error? Is score is fine. Spawn prefab is also fine. Everything else is fine. So let's hit play. And I think error was no, that's not any error. Our rotate speed was going to be 90f multiplied by move time. So let me show you. So instead of 1 degree over move time, it is going to rotate 90 radians in that amount of time. So that's the first change, and let's see what we are going to see next. So our collider is working fine. Our game is ending when we collide with stuff, but we are not getting any score objects. So why is that happening? Game is ending perfectly fine. Okay, so that was just the problem with the how our random function was working. So maybe you need to have it 50 and 50. And I think we finished pretty fast. Yeah, 36 minutes. Not much changes, but we have a completely new game, and you can like add whatever you want. It's just a simple game. And that was it for this video. And if you guys did like the video, do like and comment below. And we have done like pretty much so many Flappy Bird projects. So starting from next month, uh, as before, we'll be tackling a couple of challenges, maybe some puzzle games, match 3, match 2. I mean, we'll see. The videos will be slow, but there will be new stuff coming out, and this series is going to go on. I have like a whole collection of games that maybe I want to practice or some UI stuff. So don't know how it will go, but this series is also going to go on. And if you want to know when a new video is posted, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And you can also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so it will also uh, notify you when a new video is posted. And do subscribe to the channel and do watch the videos. And thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next one.